The movie 42 shows great film techniques. Directed by Brian Helgeland, it shows how change requires courage and vision. Director Brian Helgeland uses the film techniques medium shots, tracking, and diegetic sounds in the baseball scene. To show courage and vision, the protagonist, Jack Robinson, does the first batting. The first technique, the medium shot, is used to show Jack's action, like him walking and how he interacts with others. I think that director Brian wants the audience to see the character from a moderate distance. It shows their emotions and actions. A message that is conveyed is that even if people are being racist, you should still go on. This makes the audience feel emotions like disgust and injustice because racism is not an okay and should be stopped. It makes them want to stand up for the protagonist. The second technique used in this scene is tracking, which is used to follow what the character is doing. This allows the audience to keep up with the actions. The idea of this technique is to make the audience feel more engaged, as they feel like they are the one following the movement of the character. The third technique used in the scene is diegetic sounds. For example, when the protagonist, Jack, hits the ball with the bat, both the sounds of the hit and the whooshing are heard. This creates a clearer sound of significant actions. It grabs the audience's attention and they are more engaged with the film, almost as if they are the ones in the film. These were the three film techniques used by director Helgeland: medium shot, tracking, and diegetic sounds. The next scene is when Jack enters the stadium from the locker room. The director has used three key techniques in this scene, which are the use of sound, lighting, and another tracking shot, but with flips from behind Jack to the front. The first technique is the excellent use of sound. In this scene, when he is walking out into the stadium, we can faintly hear the people outside, but the noise of his shoes are clanking step by step, are louder and more echoed as he steps out. Director Helgeland wanted to evoke reactions from the audience. For example, light or victorious music can raise the fact that the character is having a good time or has won. It makes the audience want to feel emotions, whereas sad or gloomy music makes the audience feel sympathy or empathy for the characters. The second technique is lighting. Low-key lighting is used at first, then it moves into high-key lighting, I think, which symbolizes that Jack is ready to move on from the dark and go into the bright future which is ahead of him. To use different lighting, the director wanted the audience to see the change in their character. This technique makes the audience understand the underlining of the scene by showing the change in lighting. The third technique is tracking shot with camera flips. This shows the dramatics of the scene. The technique is used to follow the subject, such as the actor or a vehicle. For example, in the film, it is shown that Jack is being tracked by the camera as he walks through the tunnel out to the stadium. The camera follows him from the back, then it flips and shows his front. The use of this technique builds the audience's knowledge of Jack's confidence and the understanding of how he carries himself as he walks. In this scene, director Brian Helgeland has shown three major techniques, which are sound, close-up, and POV, point of view. The first technique is sound, a commonly used technique. It gives the audience something to react to. In this scene, the music sounds low and suspenseful, which turns into a victorious soundtrack when Jack successfully hits the ball. This technique also creates emotions for the audience. The second technique is close-up. This technique is usually used to show the audience's highly emotional shots to increase the dramatic effects. In this case, it is used to show the competitive faces of the two characters, the batter and the bowler. The shot is taken from above the shoulders and no background is shown, as the camera is focused on the protagonist. This technique is used to show Jack's face and his competitor's face in the game. The third technique is POV, point of view. A POV reveals exactly what the character sees from a specific angle. This helps the audience empathize with the character. Sounds, diegetic sounds, medium shots, tracking, lighting, close-ups, and POVs. These were the techniques used by the director Brian Helgeland. All of these film techniques help the audience feel emotions and engaged with them.